Do you think we should meet? I looked at my phone. I got a text message from SJ, my online friend. I stared at the message for a few seconds, and I didn't reply. I was overwhelmed with emotions. I wanted to meet him, but I'm afraid. SJ and I met through online gaming 7 months ago. We were obsessed with Fortnite, and soon we formed a team and started playing together. We won lots of games. Then, after a while, we started texting nonstop. We cared about each other. We had more things in common than just gaming. We loved the same movies, we were both obsessed with French fries, and we had the same taste in music. We ended up talking and messaging for hours. We shared personal secrets about our lives, but we felt free to do so because we agreed to keep our identities a secret. Basically, we didn't know much about each other, not even each other's real names. We only knew that we lived in the same town. Then things got complicated because we started to develop feelings for each other. He sent me a message saying, "I kinda like you, like really like you, and I think it would be awesome if we meet for real. Don't you think?" I smiled and I texted back with my fake name, Freckle Girl, "Let me think about it." I went into my room and looked in the mirror, and all I could think of is, how am I going to meet him with this face and this body? Chatting with him behind a screen hid all of my insecurities, and I wasn't ready to expose them yet. I mean, I like SJ too, but the thing is, I wasn't skinny or pretty like most of the girls in my school. I was the only redhead with freckles covering my whole face, which was not exactly the normal beauty standard. Being blonde was the hot thing. I sat on my bed thinking, oh dear, what should I do? I couldn't sleep that night for thinking too much about it. But in the morning, I made up my mind, and we can't just keep this relationship a virtual one. And if he can't accept me for who I am, then we're not the friends we pretend to be. So I sent him a message. Let us meet this weekend. Friday afternoon? How about that? And in 2 seconds, I got a reply. Oh, I thought you would never answer. Yes, that'll be great. I know an amazing restaurant that serves great food. I'll text you the time and address later. But wait, how are we going to recognize each other? I asked. I'll wear a black cap with the letter B on it, he responded. Deal. I sent him the message with a winking emoji, and then I started getting ready for school. For 3 days, I couldn't think of anything but meeting him. I was afraid and excited at the same time. Friday came fast and I wanted to look my best. So I went to the hairstylist in the morning and had a new haircut. I wore the fanciest dress I own and had my makeup done. I was happy with the result and then went off to meet SJ. And oh my God! I arrived 10 minutes later than I was supposed to, and before I went into the restaurant, I saw a guy wearing a black cap with the letter B on it. When I looked closely, I was shocked to see who he was. It was Josh, the captain of the football team, the hottest, most handsome guy in our school, and who I swore never to speak to again because of what he did to me in 5th grade. That day, the teacher asked us to name our favorite animals. All the pupils spoke about cats, dogs, and fish. I told her that my favorite animals were gorillas because they're really smart. The teacher was happy that I had a different answer, but Josh stood up and said she likes gorillas because they have the same orange hair. Everyone started laughing, and for a whole year, I became a walking joke, and no one wanted to be friends with me or invite me to their birthday party. I looked through the window, and I was furious to know that for the past 7 months, I was talking and playing with a despicable person like him. What if this was a joke? What if he knew who I was and only wanted to make fun of me? I became terrified of this idea, so I just turned around and left him there waiting. I went home and decided not to talk or send him any messages ever again. This relationship is over. The next morning, however, I woke up to a message from him. I waited for you for 2 hours. I hope that nothing bad happened to you. I know you wouldn't stand me up unless it was something serious. Ugh, why do I feel bad about it? How do I tell him that I want nothing to do with him again? I kept the message open. I didn't write anything. On Monday, I went to school, but the minute I got in, I started looking for him. I had this unstoppable urge to see him. The football team was practicing outside, so I headed there. But what I saw made me more determined to never speak to him again. He was kissing another girl, Ashley. Every guy in our school wanted to date. What the hell? Was he kidding me? I think the whole I like you thing has ended before it even started. How did I think that a jerk like him could ever change? I turned around and went straight to my class, feeling a bit disappointed and irritated. But then something unexpected happened. Later that day, during chemistry class, the door opened and Josh walked in. My heart was pounding fast and I started sweating for no reason. He spoke a few words with the teacher and then the teacher said, "Say hi to Josh, everyone. He'll be joining us for the rest of the year." Then he looked at me and said, "Manny, he'll be your partner on the project." I yelled, "What? No!" I like to do things on my own. But the teacher insisted, he'll be your partner, Manny. You always do things on your own. You should have a partner for a change. I tried to object. But, no buts, the teacher screamed. Let's just keep it that way. Then Josh came and sat next to me and he said, I'm not a monster, you know. I wanted to run away, but I just laughed awkwardly and said, I know. He was so calm, but I couldn't sit still. We never spoke a word, and as soon as the lesson ended, I walked out as fast as I could. I went straight to the girls' bathroom, and out of the blue, I sent him a message, SJ, telling him that I was really sorry for not showing up to our meeting the week before, and that I was so sick that I couldn't even hold the phone. I lied, but my curiosity got the best of me, and I wanted to see if he'd be nice to me in the real world like he was via the messages. In the next chemistry class, I was a lot calmer. Josh sat next to me, but he was super sleepy. I asked him quietly, why are you here? In chemistry class, I mean. And he responded, I need to take extra points so I can apply for a sports scholarship. You look tired, I added. That's because I was studying last night, he answered. I laughed. He was lying. We spent the whole night gaming against a Swedish team, and we won. Why are you laughing? He asked. Oh, nothing. I can help you get the points you need if you follow my instructions. I always get A's in chemistry. He didn't like what I said, but he nodded his head. Okay, fine. We started working on the project together, and we had to meet after school. SJ was not very smart, but with my guidance, we managed to finish the project on time and get an A for it. When he saw his grade, he asked me to tutor him on other subjects. He said he'll pay me, and I said yes. I could use the extra cash. And the more we spent time together, the more I found out that he wasn't that bad. And maybe the whole gorilla Manila was only a kid's mistake. But something else was bothering me now. He kept seeing Ashley. Ugh, how I hated her. She would come and kiss him on the cheek and say, oh, honey, I missed you. And sometimes he would ditch our private lessons to be with her. He'll send me a text message later to tell me that he was sorry for not showing up, and I would explode with anger. One time when we were studying history, Ashley called him, and when he finished talking to her, he got up and said, sorry, but I gotta end the lesson here. I need to go with Ashley to a party. I was so furious. I was jealous and felt like he was cheating on me, so I said, why is it always about her? The minute she calls, you're like her bodyguard. Your studies are more important than going to some stupid party, you know. He looked at me and said, excuse me, but you're not my mother. It's my life. I screamed, fine, then don't expect me to wait for you here while you destroy it. I picked up my things and left while he was looking confused. I realized that I fell madly in love with him, but still, I couldn't tell him who I was. I couldn't bring myself to do it. I stopped talking to Josh. He tried to talk to me so I could go back to tutoring him, but I refused. I also kept the messages with SJ to a bare minimum. I canceled all our games, and whenever he spoke about meeting each other again, I would make up a lie and pretend to be busy. But one night, I got a message from SJ, Josh. It was short, but terrifying. I got cancer. I blinked at the message twice. I didn't know what to respond, but then he added, you are the only person who knows this besides my parents. I don't know how to tell my friends or even my team. I was horrified, but the only response I could think of was, I'm so sorry to hear this, but I'll be there for you. He told me about his treatment schedule and how he got the news. It was devastating. The next day when I saw him at school, he seemed fine. He was joyful as always, laughing with everyone like nothing had happened to him. When our eyes met, he came to me smiling and said, I know that you're upset with me, but I just want you to know that thanks to you, I passed all my exams and got the grades I want. I can apply for my scholarship. I'll be happy if you come and watch me in the final game. Great, I said. I wanted to hug him, but that would be weird, so I just said, see you around. The final game for the football team came 2 weeks later, and I had to go see him. I didn't care if I went there as a friend, a tutor, or an anonymous friend. I just had to go and see him. I was worried about him playing while being sick. I knew he wanted to live his life as normal as possible, but still, it was dangerous. The first half went smoothly. He even scored for his team. I was happy for him. But then, in the second half, I noticed that he was hardly breathing. He was running when he suddenly stopped and put his hand on his chest. I freaked out. I went down from the stadium and ran straight to the field where the paramedics were trying to figure out what was wrong with him. I came close and I heard them saying, we need to take him to the hospital. He's not breathing. And without thinking, I said, take him now! He has cancer! Everyone looked at me shocked, and one of the paramedics asked, are you sure? And I answered, positive! They took him to an ambulance, and I went with them. I was praying the whole way there that this situation had not gotten worse than it already was. His parents were waiting for him in front of the hospital, and then Ashley came. I felt so awkward waiting with them, but then the doctor came and assured us that it was fine. He was suffering from shortness of breath because of too much stress. He just needed to rest. I went home feeling relieved. He was safe, and that was what mattered. When I went to visit him the next week, he was not himself. He looked at me and asked, "Hey Manny, how did you know that I had cancer?" I never told any of my friends that. I looked at him. I felt my face burning out of embarrassment, and I muttered, You what?" he yelled, and I had to confess. "Listen, Josh, or shall I call you SJ? I watched his face go through all kinds of emotions while he was listening to me. I explained everything to him, how I liked him too, and how I was too afraid to show him the real me, and how I changed my bad idea of him when we started working on the project together. But none of that seemed to make it better. He got angrier with every word I spoke. "So you lied to me the whole time. You made me a stupid fool, and then you told everyone that I had cancer. You know you had no right. I wanted to tell them when I was ready. I didn't want anyone to feel sorry for me. Did you know that the committee is thinking of disqualifying me from the scholarship program because they knew I'm sick? Do you know that Ashley dumped me because of that too? I hate you, and I wish I never knew you." Tears started forming in my eyes. I was hurt by what he said to me, and I also hated myself for causing him so much pain. I left his room and went home. I later sent him tons of messages on his real phone number, and messages from my online account telling him how sorry I was. But he never responded to any of them. I was going to get some fries, and I saw him sitting with some of his friends. He noticed me, but then he looked away. He was still mad. I took my order and went out. But before I left, Josh followed me to the parking lot. He said, "Yo, Freckle Girl, you free for a game tonight?" I turned around and said happily, "Are you up for a game, SJ?" He nodded and said, "Yeah, and maybe for a meal sometime. You got my number, text me." He went back to his friends, and I was more than happy to send him another message. And now, we're dating for real. What do you think of my story? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe.